Scentland, the land of scent. Hello and welcome. I'm Chris, back with another fragrance review. This time it is one of my favorite personalities in the designer world. It's about a German genius, König Karl Lagerfeld, and a very early release. Actually, he's been around since the 50s, starting with Balmain, I think, in Paris as a young guy, and then he developed his own label, and he's leading the labels or fashion houses of Fendi, Chanel, Chloe as well is one of his brands that he designed for, works for, and his own brand Karl Lagerfeld, which released his first male fragrance in 1978, and the perfumier is Ron Vinograd of this fragrance, and the fragrance is called Lagerfeld Classic. It's called Lagerfeld Classic today. At the time it was Lagerfeld Cologne, I think. There's different sizes and shapes, well, not shapes but sizes definitely. I have the 125, the 60 and the 30 mil, and that's how the box is looking like, right? Yo. And even I have an old body lotion here with a different labeling at the time. This is how it looked like before. This is actually how Photo looked like before as well. I mean, the name, how, the way our Lagerfeld, the name is written up there. But regarding the bottle, designed by Karl Lagerfeld himself, with this cap, which is now plastic. It was metal before, but this is the shape, the original shape. They kept it with the current reformulations as well. Now, I mentioned the perfumer Ron Vinograd, who is a perfumer and an artist, a teacher for I think 50 years now. He's very active. Seems to be quite busy in terms of venturing into other directions rather than just making perfumes. He has a book out. I think it's called Being Different. But with this composition, he's definitely different because although it has been released in the 70s, and if you spray it first, it might remind you of, bam, I think today's time and age, maybe 9 out of 10 people would say this is way too much. No way, no, my good God, what is this? So my advice, very first advice with this fragrance, before going into any sort of analyze about notes and all that, this is not the way you should test this fragrance. And I'll tell you later, I think, what the optimal way of testing this fragrance is. But this smells nice. Definitely not. So it's a different sort of angle you should take on this fragrance for your own benefit. Not because I'm that clever, but experience. I use this fragrance since 1994. I use the old version and the new version as well. I'm going to come back to that as well. Regarding the notes, one can go in the notes there that it's a Oriental woody, aromatic, musky type of affair. So we have musk there, aldehydes. We have some flowery notes there, jasmine and rose. We have cedar wood. We have sweet orange, we have vanilla and tonka bean in there, so it is quite an interesting composition. Like this one is one of those fragrances that I prefer to compare to classical music because it's made of so many ingredients in the perfect shape. It's like an orchestra is then bringing this composition to life, and really when you spray it out, it still needs to have some time until you start to. It's like maybe the more heavy classical music. Yet it's not the heavy, typical heavy 70s, 80s male fragrance that you might think it is, or you might think after smelling it that it is, because it knocks you off your feet. No, and this is one of the points that I want to highlight. In regards to this, so when you test this fragrance, right, don't do it the usual way. So don't go this way, because no way. This comes from a time when I think fragrances were not created for an easygoing top note, an easy come, easy go. You like it not? Is it nice, citrusy, aquatic? This smells nice. No, this really requires time. But this one in particular, it requires even more time, because this fantastic juice here will live his true life once it becomes one with your body heat. That's an extreme example, this fragrance of a fragrance you know, becoming or coming to life with you wearing it. So what I would suggest, if you don't want to spray it on yourself and go straight ahead with it, and what I would suggest is to get a piece of, you know, go into the bathroom or whatever closed room, get a hanky or a piece of paper, whatever, 2 sprays on the piece of paper, on the hanky, leave it in the room and exit yourself. You leave the rest in the room and then go back after an hour. You don't have to smell the hankies, you can leave it on the table, because what you will get, this aura that I'm talking about here will fill the room. So you don't have to smell the paper then, or the hanky, whatever. You will get what the fragrance is about mostly. You will get when you re-enter the room, you will feel this composition of warm, ambery, musky, slightly fiery, woody aura that fills the room. And this is what you get when you spray it on yourself. Obviously it will modify a little bit, adjust to your skin. But what I would suggest is then, if you like that sort of aroma that you feel when you're going back, you know, and in the bathroom or any room you use this to test it, and then if you like that smell, then the next thing you should do when you want to wear it going out, or even just during the day, you know, being at home, spray the fragrance under your clothes, under your shirt, like on your chest. I would do about 4 or 5 sprays. That might seem a little bit too much. You do 4 or 5 sprays and then you basically close this thing, right? It's not on direct display. This thing, it's under your shirt, right? And as time goes on, at the beginning it will be tough. So you don't go immediately, you know, to a business meeting, but rather sit in your car driving to work 1 hour, or I don't know, stay at home and then go out, because after an hour it will change. The initial, you know, top notes will change and will develop a fantastic aura that is just lingering around you and becoming one with your body heat, and then lingering and giving this fantastic ambery, slightly sweet, woody, orangey, and musky tobacco. I forgot about tobacco. Tobacco is definitely in there. The tobacco, smooth tobacco feeling that will linger around you like a very positive, comforting cloud, and it will do so for 24 hours. I just tested this yesterday. I went out in the morning. Then I went to have an Indian with some friends. Then I went to the wine festival. Then I went to the football game. I went to sleep. Never change your clothes, because after a football game, you know, who cares after a few beers? And next morning I woke up and it's still there. It's still lingering. It's fantastic, and it's so positive, warm, and comforting, and never pushy. It is amazing, this stuff. So this is what you get when you know, use this in a slightly different way that you would normally use a fragrance. The other thing that I want to highlight is the reformulation versus old version. Reformulation has this bottle. It's almost the same, like the way Lagerfeld is written is different, but there's much discussion out there that is not as good as the old one. I totally disagree with it. I think this is a more suitable, more rounded, less edgy, less powdery version of the original. It's absolutely wearable. It's a bit different than the original was. So if you want to stick to the original, of course you're gonna be saying that, you know, it's not like the original. Okay, but I think, and I've used the original back in '94, and ever since then, until it was over and I had to get the new ones. But I was very satisfied with both, you know, how it smelled, what sort of aura it gave off, as well as the performance. The performance is fantastic. This stuff, especially for the price, I mean, it's very cheap, very widely available, and very cheapest fragrance at this stage. And the performance is frenetic. The other thing is very unique. People will easily, instantly recognize this, and it's because you can tell it's different than anything else out there. So, you know, its uniqueness, its performance, sillage projection, you know, perfect longevity I mentioned. But again, I want to highlight the way you wear this fragrance is under your shirt. You don't even, maybe the aftershave you put on, right, on your face or something, but leave the fragrance under your shirt. Do 4 or 5 sprays. Don't be afraid, you know. But then wait until you mix with other people, because in 1 hour's time you're gonna be shining with this stuff. It's so warm, tobacco, musky, ambery, vanilla. It's just a fantastic composition, and I think that okay, Lagerfeld, you know, changed the game, or his own game, and gave this to Coty, and many say that was a mistake. I don't think that Karl Lagerfeld would have ever allowed for his very first men's fragrance to be messed with. And even though the appearance might be, because of the plastic cap compared to the old metal cap, might be a bit more, you know, mass market type of, and at this stage it's actually maybe even at the lower shelves of the fragrance stores, but it's still a fantastic juice, and it totally provides you with that uniqueness, that warm, comforting manliness that you may be looking for. And age-wise, I would say 25 and up. And you know, the most important thing is with this one, test it the way I recommended. It's not because I'm such a fucking genius, I'm sorry, but it's because this is how this fragrance works. It's just like that. It's you know, I can't explain why it is. It's just, you know, tested away with that room, with that piece of paper in the fragrance, left alone, then go back and smell it, then use it after your below your shirt, and then enjoy, you know, the fantastic aura, the fantastic scent cloud that will be around you for 24 hours and up. This is really, you know, one of my all-time favorite fragrances, and I keep reaching for it day and night, no matter what time of the year. Maybe in the summer heat it's not good, so I would leave it in the summer heat. But other than that, you know, no time of the day is really special for this one. So you can actually fantastic signature scent. So you see, I've been quite enthusiastic about Lagerfeld Classic, because Lagerfeld Classic is classic. I think it's a fragrance that I'll keep for a long time to come, and I'm happy that it's still in production. And if you have different opinion on its way of being reformulated, you know, I think you're right. But then again, if you look at this release, I think it is very extremely satisfying if you approach it from the right angle. So that was my take on Lagerfeld Classic. Hope you liked it, and I'll be back with more very soon. And one more remark: if you wonder my voice is like that, and I sound like, I don't know, Barry White or something, this is because of yesterday's football match. So I was screaming and shouting. So the team won, and I had this on throughout the day, and it outperformed my expectations once again. Thanks very much. Take care. That was me, Sandland, on Karl Lagerfeld's Classic from 1978. That was a good long time ago, Jack. Tell you, bye-bye.